I was just going to highlight a couple of the things we have on display. So we're kind of focusing this year on the Dawn Biologic range of products. And so some people are kind of confused, like, what is Dawn Biologic and why did we choose to basically create a secondary brand? Well, we created the Dawn Biologic brand primarily to create the first set of products specifically for intensive cover crop farming and soil health in the industry, where we are specifically focused on cover crops in the Dawn Biologic brand. Well, why did we want to split that off? Well, it's because a lot of the customers that we're dealing with and the markets we're getting into are different than a lot of our traditional clients. The cover crop market has taken us into organic no-till, some really cutting edge practices that way, has gotten us into different geographic regions than we've been in before. We're doing a lot more business on the East Coast, the West Coast, and so on and so forth. So really, cover crops and soil health are a core focus and a core value for Dawn Equipment, and Dawn Biologic is that brand where we're really speaking to those end users. The key pieces of that product line are two elements. The Xerox cover crop roller crimper, like a lot of people have seen this tool before. This thing is gaining widespread market acceptance in terms of people get stands established, okay, and they say, hey, how do I plant into it? And the Xerox roller crimper really answers those questions. It gives you a reliable, simple way to plant into everything from 6-foot tall cereal rye to vetch to you name it. It also performs really well in no-tilling into standing corn stalks. You know, the roller will basically mash down the stalks, kind of like a stalk stomper. It doesn't plug, it doesn't wrap, it just simplifies things. And we'll make this unit, traditionally a crimping roller has been something that you would mount on the front of a tractor. It'd be, you know, the same width as the planter, it'd be a large drum, and which is difficult to really scale. Part of Dawn Biologic is also asking the question, how do we take some of these very intensive cover crop practices and scale them to the type of large-scale production to make it something that the mainstream American farmers can adopt across the Midwest. This product mounts it right in front of the planter row unit. Each row flexes independently on a parallel linkage. It has hydraulic down pressure, and the rollers are made in different lengths, okay? So we'll make this product in 20 inches, we'll make it in 70 centimeters for the metric market, we'll make it in 30 inches, 36 inches, and so on and so forth. So it's modular. You have the linkage on the row, and then the rollers fit in, and it forms itself to the shape of the soil, which really increases the crimping ability of that roller. So, you know, people also ask, well, can I actually terminate cover crops with the roller crimping? You know, the cereal rye is really the only one that you can actually kill mechanically with the roller crimper. And the cereal rye, it needs to be mature, it needs to be headed out, it needs to be fully mature, and you can create a dense stand. And it's now possible to use this device to use cereal rye as the primary mode of weed control. You know, you can ratchet back your herbicide use, and even, you know, person after person at this event, I've been saying the phrase organic no-till soybeans. You know, it's now possible to grow large-scale organic soybeans that you're going to be getting $20 a bushel for, that you can scale to hundreds and thousands of acres. I think that's a real business, regardless of whether you're necessarily philosophically aligned with the organic movement. Inter-row seeding is not a perfected science by any stretch. And there's been a lot of really interesting stuff that I've learned from a lot of people here about interactions with different herbicides, timing, what to seed, when to seed it, you know, how to do it. Our approach, there's a lot of different ways you can get cover crops on. You can fly it on with an airplane, you can blow it on the ground with a high clearance vehicle, you can spread it. Our approach is to maximize the cover crop system. We want to maximize the return on investment, and that's why we're always going to make a drill out of it. We're going to get the seed in the ground, okay? The Duo Seed product, when we said, hey, you know, we're going to start making an inter-row seeding device, and after a while we just realized we're making a no-till drill. But the thing about cover crops is farmers don't value cover crops in the same way they value primary crops. That's just a psychological boundary that we're crossing. And we said, hey, guys don't want to come out and spend, you know, on a drill in the same way that they would, because a lot of our customers, they don't own a drill anymore, you know. So we need a simple, high clearance, high speed way that we can get, you know, cover crops planted. So we came up with the Duo Seed, which is a very low cost, modular double disc opener, parallel linkage mounted, that you can use on as little as 7.5 inch spacing, okay? So in between the rows, you could run a single opener, just as a side dress opener. You could run a double opener, the most common configuration, or you could run 3 openers between the rows. This is a device that you could pull 10 or 12 miles an hour. It has a gauge wheel for depth control, which is also closes the slot. It has an actual closing wheel. And it has a very novel design. So one of the things that we also realized early on in the inter-row seeding was that people don't want to do a lot of soil disturbance, okay? Especially when you've worked so hard to get this cover established, they don't want to come in there and reseed it and do a bunch of disturbance and expose black soil, because that's just a place where a weed's going to grow. So high speed but low soil disturbance is critical, okay? So how do we do that? Well, we've got this kind of offset double disc opener with a leading edge. So with every installation, you're going to get a left hand and you're going to get a right hand, so the unit pulls straight. That leading edge is going to cut through the residue without a coulter. It's just low soil disturbance. We took, compared to a planter, we took the angle between the V openers and we narrowed it up to lower the soil disturbance even more. And then we came up with this really novel rotating scraper firming wheel, which is a small wheel that's spring-loaded, and it holds the soil down at the trailing edge of the disc opener, and it also keeps the blades clean, okay? And this is a deal that you can seed with, you can apply fertilizer with, apply fertilizer in one, apply seed in the other. It has a host of different things that you can do. It's really, really flexible device. We've been getting a really great response off this device. We just introduced a new product, which is a divergence. Normally at Dawn we make things that are heavy and made out of metal, okay? But the Dawn Biologic theme is broadly surrounding cover crops and easing the adoption of cover crop systems. The Xerox simplifies adoption of planting into cover crops because it just makes it easy. You don't have to think about it, you just put it in the ground and plant, okay? The Duo Seed simplifies inter-row seeding by just giving you that flexibility to do whatever you need to do when you need to do it. And we recently just did a partnership deal with the Seed Right guys, and Dawn Bio is going to be bringing to the market these really novel discs, seed discs, okay? And these are seed discs that allow you to convert a John Deere vacuum planter or a Kinsey to plant wheat and to plant cover crops, okay? Earlier in the event we had the Relay Crop Roundtable, and there's all these guys getting excited about twin row wheat and all of these creative different things you can do with planting relay crops, where you plant winter wheat and then you come back and plant beans, twin row beans into the winter wheat. Well, how do you do that? How do you, if you don't own a drill already and you want to come out and plant cover crops, maybe you own a Kinsey planter, maybe you a Kinsey 3600, maybe you own a John Deere 1790 or something like that. Well, you can just get these discs, which we're retailing for $50, and convert your planter into a drill for cover crops. We've got these are the ones for the John Deere right here. This one's for wheat and larger seeds. This one's for smaller seeds. We've got them this is for the Kinsey Edge Vac, similar seed discs right here. And then also, really commonly, This little device is for the Kinsey brush meter, okay? Where the brush meter is a really reliable, simple way to plant cover crops and so on and so forth. But a lot of times with small seeds, you need to seal the edges around the brush meter. It's just a simple device that increases the effectiveness of those meters. So the broad theme of cover crops in the Dawn Biologic brand, we're all about everything you need to make it easy to get into cover crops, to adopt it, and hopefully have as much success as possible. We want to have that inside of this product line. So it's been a really great event for us, and I really appreciate No-Till Farmer and Lester Publications for having the National No-Till Conference. Thank you.